going on YouTube? It's your boy Kales,
Hey, my name's Miguel Perez, just in case you forgot.
and today we're back at Airplay Studio.
Yes, wonderful here. I'm excited about being here again.
Yes, sir, absolutely. It's been a great ride, and we are really just catching traction every time we talk. And this episode today is about something great. I know he has a lot to say about this, so why don't you tell us what we got going?
Well, we've discussed we went to a pool hall last week, right? We had a
Mm-hmm.
good time there. We talked about escape, and you watch that podcast too. But you know what? As we were throwing out the podcast, we were talking about anything from bowling to fishing to going to the lake to any activity you could do to escape. But the one thing I didn't mention, and it's a big one, and because sometimes there's a lot of controversy around it,
Mm-hmm.
it's my big escape is actually going to church.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I love it. You know what I'm saying? I love
Absolutely.
going to church. To me, it's one of the best escapes a person can have, and I go because I want to get closer to God. I
Absolutely.
want to have more understanding of his word and what he does and what he's done for me. And I just enjoy it. When I go, I walk out with such a peace and such a rest. And so I encourage people all the time, hey, go, 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 go.
Mm-hmm.
But the bad thing is there's a lot of negativity about going to church or people from church. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? And what I mean by it, like, you could tell somebody, hey man, you gotta go to church, or invite you to this church. We're gonna have a program and stuff like that. And they all say, and this is big one, Captain. No, I don't go to church because there's a bunch of hypocrites that go to church. Have you heard that before?
Oh,
I've been
yeah.
one to say it before, so yeah, I can say I've heard it a few times.
No, man, that drives me crazy. And let me tell you something, Frank. Think about going to church. If you don't want to go to church, then just say you don't want to go to church. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That's your business. That's between you and God. We got free will. You can do anything you want in this world. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So if you don't want to go, just say you don't want to go.
Mhm.
Don't say it's because I don't go because there's a bunch of hypocrites. Because you know what? There's a bunch of hypocrites at Walmart. There's bunch of hypocrites at the club. There's a bunch of hypocrites at work.
Absolutely.
There's a bunch of hypocrites just about anywhere you go. But you don't go to you don't stop going to those places,
Yeah.
right? Your drug dealer's a hypocrite. You know what I'm saying? Your bartender is a hypocrite. You know what I'm saying? But you don't stop going to those places because the hypocrites are there. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But the one place you do say, I refuse to go to the house of God because you're a bunch of hypocrites. No, 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 no. You know what? You don't want to go, just don't go. But don't blame it on people.
Yeah, no, and that's one thing that I learned. Like, I had this, I had that same mentality. I'm not gonna lie, where I didn't want to go to church. I didn't want to really get involved as in that level because I grew up in church, and I learned that there was a lot of people that were going to that church that were hypocrites. They were those people that would go to church and act one way, but outside of that, they were completely different. And they would treat everybody like trash. And that's the mentality that I seen a lot more than people that just loved everybody and loved God. So I was one of those people that were just like that. Like, nah, I don't like people. And it took me to be in a relationship with this really godly woman where I was like, I tell her, I was like, it's just not my place. And she's like, I felt the same way. But the reason why you go to church isn't for them,
No, you
it's
don't.
for you and your relationship with God. So if they're being that way, that's their problem to resolve with God, not your problem to resolve with them.
Well, let me give you a revelation. A lot of people revelation. People that are going to church, it does not mean that their act is completely together. No, matter
Mhm.
of fact, the church should be full of hypocrites, should be full of drug addicts, should be full of drunks, prostitutes. You name it. You
Mhm.
should have all kinds of
I'm pretty
things
sure there's
wrong
a
going in church because you're going there not because everything's all right. You're going there because you have a need in your life and you're trying to get better.
I'm
It
pretty
doesn't
sure
mean where
there's a
you're
verse
there.
saying that too, if I'm not mistaken, saying that a house should be full of sinners. I
If the house is
mean,
not full of sinners, then what are you doing?
You
You know what I'm
don't
saying?
go to the doctor if you're healthy.
Yeah, it's the sick
exactly,
people that need it. You know what I'm saying? But
exactly.
you go to church and I got a church. I love my church back in Plainview, Texas, and some people there are great, and some people there struggle. And I love them all, and some are very close to me. Some I see here and there. But there's no way in my mind that I think, oh, these guys are perfect, and because one or two have looked at me wrong or
Mhm.
said something about me, or my past,
Yeah.
or I got divorced, something like that, it don't mean, hey, I'm dismissed. I want nothing to do with God because church full of hypocrites. No, it just means, you know what? Hey, you got your battle, I got mine, and I'm not here for you. I'm here for him. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
it helps me.
It took me a long time to realize that, man. It really did, because there was a lot of people, man, that just they'd say the weirdest thing. I'm like, you're supposed to be this godly person. You present yourself as such a high almighty Christian, and yet you speak so downwards on everybody that doesn't live up to your expectations. And then I started realizing, those people don't even meet their own expectations.
They never
You're
will.
just like, well, why are you sitting here being like that? And then it comes down to the point where I used to tell people all the time, like, you're no better than me. You're not. And I'm a sinner, you're a sinner. We're all in this boat together. So
Mhm.
either you're gonna love me for me, or you're gonna hate me for being me.
Yeah,
Either way, I love me.
yeah, that's the thing, and that's the thing. You gotta love yourself, and you go because you love yourself, and having a relationship with God makes that even better.
Hmm.
But if you go and you focus on the people, then you're missing it all together. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because let me tell you something. If you don't know this or anybody don't know this, you're never gonna please everybody.
No.
There's always somebody there that's not gonna like something about you. Maybe you a couple of things, but me, one.
I see what you did there.
That was too good to sneak it in. But I mean, you're never gonna please everybody. There's always somebody that's not gonna like something you do or how you look
Mhm.
or how you dress or how you talk. You know what I'm saying? So if you're worried about pleasing people, you're gonna be a very miserable person. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
absolutely.
Please God and please yourself.
And that's one thing that I think a lot of people don't realize is you're not on this earth to just do and really make sure everybody's doing right by you. Your job is to make sure you're doing right. That's literally your job in this earth. This do right yourself. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Don't worry about what everybody's thinking. If they don't like what you're doing, they don't like what you're thinking. Who cares? They're
A-
they're not affecting your paycheck for one.
Yeah.
They're not really truly affecting your life. So who cares what they think?
Yeah, but
I
a lot of
mean,
people do, and that's what I struggle with is why do you care so much? Maybe it's an upbringing thing. I don't know. Maybe it's a teacher thing, taught wrong and stuff like that.
I
But
think it's a socially acclimated thing. Like everybody like decided at one point to be socially accepted, and so their ideas of being socially accepted whenever they were younger, because they were grouped together and everybody had all the cool kids and the nerds and all the jocks, all those separated cliques, to where they wanted to be accepted, and so they cared about what other people thought, and that mainly happened a lot in school because there was no real structure
well, yeah, it's
other
a
than what everybody else created. So I guess it's more socially.
yeah uh, a self esteem issue. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Yeah,
People pleaser. People pleasers are the most miserable people in the world today. You know what I'm
I
saying?
used to
Because
be
they're always
one.
because they're always trying to please people, but you can't please everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you do things to get people to like you, to
Mm-hmm.
people around you. Just like you look at Facebook. It's like a psychology thing. I read about it a couple years back. It's like uh, got these people that post pictures on there, and it's like they're addicted to it because they feel the more likes they get, the more fulfilled
Yeah,
they feel made.
they're
You know, so
filling that hole.
they're trying to
That's
fill that gap, that
yeah.
void, by how many comments and how many likes they get on their pictures.
Mm-hmm.
So, ladies are real big on this. It's just not a lie. It's true.
Yeah.
They'll post some of the most provocative pictures out there because they want to get all these likes and all these
Mm-hmm.
videos. And I'm like, what the heck is wrong with these women? But it's
Mm-hmm.
that's how they feel. That's what gives them for their fulfillment.
Yeah.
So they get wilder and wilder. You know what I'm saying? But
That's why my Facebook picture is still from like 2 or 3 years ago.
man,
I don't care enough. Like don't don't make no difference what people think. I learned that a long time ago, and it even came to the point where one lesson I learned that was amazing and really grabbed my attention and everything was whenever I was doing everything I was doing for everybody, where I was so focused on making sure I was taking care of everybody, so focused on really being that person for everyone I could. I realized how much I was losing. I was losing everything. I was losing my mind. I was losing, my time. I was losing everything. And it was just the dumbest thing in the world that I did to myself. And then as soon as I started taking that away from everybody, all these people started running their mouth, talking crap about, oh well, he's not there no more. F that guy. He don't care no more. And I'm just like, it's weird that whenever I was being that people pleaser, that socially binding person that was kind of keeping things together
yeah.
for other people, I was losing it myself, and then I was losing who I was. And then after a while, I separated myself. Now they think I'm a bad person. And then I started
Because you're not
realizing,
giving them what
who
they want.
cares what they
Yeah,
think?
exactly.
I'm doing the best thing I can for myself. I am climbing, mountains trying to get to where I need to be. and your judgment is supposed to like offend me at this point? No, screw you and your
Yeah, yeah.
opinion at that
You know,
point.
I've gotten a point in my life. I love me, who I am, very confident in who I am and my abilities and my talents and everything that the Lord has put upon me. You know what I'm saying? But there was a time in my life that, dude, I just had the lowest self esteem, and I didn't
Hmm.
believe I could do anything. You know what I'm saying? I just
Hmm.
felt I was dumb and stupid. But I just like, man, I hit it. I hit it through being, trying to be a bad boy, and the life of the party and stuff like that. Trying to,
Hmm.
be the guy, the cool kid in and stuff like that. But honestly, I struggled with that for years. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Anytime a job, they won't hire me. They won't promote me. They won't give it to me. They won't do that. I was like, they're not gonna consider me. Pick a team.
Yeah.
So I would do things to get out of it. They're playing basketball. I want that good. Like I don't feel like playing. I'm gonna sit down. I wanted to play.
You cut
I
yourself
just did.
out before
I
you
just
even
didn't
got
feel.
to.
Yeah, exactly.
I
I
got
just
you.
didn't feel they would pick me. You know what I'm saying? So I just try to be. Nah, I don't want to play. I don't play. It's like, and if
I'm
they
just
had,
chilling. Don't worry.
yeah,
I'm just watching.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But the thing that helped me through that is my relationship with the Lord. Is going to church, hearing His preachings, hearing His teaching. The people that got around me, like I said, yeah, there were some people there that, man, they didn't like me. Period. This is the church, youth
Hmm.
groups. Well, there was some that just connected with me and they loved me, man. They took me in, they invited me, they built me up, let me know who I am, man. And it just changed
Yeah.
my life, to the point where I got to, man, I am somebody. I can make
Hmm.
the deal. I'm more than qualified,
Yeah.
and renewed my mind. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? That's why I love it so
It
much. I
filled that
love,
void
yes,
that all these people are searching for attention that they can't quite really grasp. It really feels like the likes thing that you were saying, how like these people they put up a provocative picture, to get the likes, and they're like, oh well, it's for me. It's not really for everybody. I just did it for me because I like seeing it. No, we all know that you did it for attention.
yeah,
We all know what you're doing. And most of us are not stupid. Some of us are, but not everybody is. And if you would just fill that hole that you have, that void in your side of you, with something good, like what we're talking about,
yeah,
like it would change your perspective. You'd probably be the most modest person after that. You'd be like,
yeah, exactly, exactly.
because you
That's what.
wouldn't need that attention.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I talk about. That escape, is a very important one. I was like, man, I forgot to mention that. That's the biggest one. And sometimes people just don't want to hear it. You know what? I really don't care. You don't want to hear it. You don't hear it. That's
Yeah,
fine. But I have to
we
hear
can
about
skip
their.
over this little
I have to hear
conversation.
about a lot of their junk sometimes. You know what I'm saying? That I have absolutely no interest in. But you know what? If I want to talk about the things of God, I want to talk about in church. I'm going to talk about it because I
Mm,
love it. I enjoy it. It's built me up. And most of my time I spend just listening to preachers and teachings. And a
mm,
lot of that I learned not only helped me in my personal life, it helped me in my business. It helped me with friends. It helped me,
mm,
being sympathetic, being understanding. Because
mm.
man, there was a time that I was black and white, and I was one of those guys that was
On or off.
freaking, yeah, being hypocritical. Now I
Mm.
was the otherwise thinking low people, but
Now
went
you
through
can
some
step
stuff.
into someone else's shoes
Yeah,
and
man,
like really see kind of their perspective of it and step
exactly,
back and say,
exactly.
okay, now I don't need to sit there and focus so much about what you're doing. I need to focus on why you're doing it, and now I understand why you're doing these
Mhm.
things.
Yeah, you get humbled
Hmm.
after some situations, and you realize, hey, there's not a bad guy. There's not a, they're not bad people. They just struggle with this, and as a result, they act like this or do that. You know what I'm saying? But I
Hmm.
remember I was there. Now I know. Now I know they're thinking, and I
Hmm.
know what they needed because that's what I needed, and I could connect with a lot more people now.
Oh yeah,
Because of it. Right?
and that's a great thing about like what we are talking about, being able to go out and be social and stuff like that. You actually get to see a lot more of how people act, and once you get to that mind state of being in situations like I said, I think the last one, how I was talking about how I was a bouncer and I got to see all these people. I mean, yes, I thought stuff like that, but I started to realize like these people are just going through hard times. Why am I going to sit here and like fight them because they want to fight me? Most of the time, they want to fight me because they got something else going on. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not going to be a part of your conflict. No need to be.
Yeah.
And being able to see that, I was able to resolve it just by being like, dude, do you really want to fight me? Like, is this really the direction you want to go, or is there, maybe you just want to go home. You're just upset right now. And I'm not even joking. I mean, people would be like, "Oh, well, that sounds like you're being a baby or you're scared of the fight." No, actually, I have no problem fighting. And if you met any of my friends, you realize
Yeah,
that
Kelton's a big boy just because y'all don't see it.
a lot of my friends are usually like calling me to help them in that kind of situation, but they also know that I'm gonna try to resolve the argument before I get to a fight. And usually, I'm very good at like bringing down an altercation, and they love that because most people don't really want to fight. They have something going on inside of them, that
Exactly.
it's coming out, and most of the time, it's not even about the situation at hand. 9 times out of 10, it's about something random that don't even involve you in any
Well,
sort.
here's the thing, and I learned this a while back, and I just applied this. Like when they be the oh, that person's on drugs, that's their problem. They have a drug problem. I said, no, that's the result of their problem.
Mm-hmm.
Their problem is something else.
Mm-hmm.
But because they
That's
have
their
that problem,
escape.
that's their escape, drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's alcoholic. No, not an alcoholic. That's not his problem. That's the result of his problem.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that woman's bitter. No, that's the result of her problem. Something happened that caused her to be bitter and it was never
Mm-hmm.
addressed.
Yep.
I wrote a paper called Unresolved Issues. A lot of people have unresolved issues. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And sometimes they can even hold it in within for years.
Mm-hmm.
But sooner or later, that's
It's
going to
gonna come
manifest.
out.
It's going to come out. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? But I've learned that a lot of things I see, that's not their problem. It's the result of their problem. So if you address the issue,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the problem, fix it, then the other stuff would just be good to go away.
That's why I used to say, and a lot of people are gonna probably disagree with me highly here, but that's why I said, for instance, for like the gun related issues
Mm-hmm.
that America has of the gun shooting, or the mental health issues that are going on inside this world that we live in now, and the social issues that we have. Everything is based upon something else, and everybody wants to like give these kids Ritalin or some type of medication to calm them down, or they want to drown out everything in these things. They don't realize that they're not really solving the problem, the root issue of why
Mm-hmm.
these kids are acting this way, or why these people are going out and doing these terrible things. They're not resolving the issues at hand. What they're doing is they're just trying to sugarcoat it and say, here's a piece of candy, just move on, it's okay. Instead of being like, okay, well, we have an issue, let's address it and let's correct this. And that's what people themselves need to do, because if you're having an issue like that, for instance, the bitter woman issue, I'm just going to use that as an example. That bitter woman has somebody did her wrong in some sort of way, and she has not let go of that. I guarantee you, 9 times out of 10, a man probably messed her up to the point where she no longer likes men in that capacity. She's just so angry and frustrated over whatever happened, and most of the time is a very bad situation. I'm not gonna say that on here, but we all know what I'm talking about. Rhymes with grape. But it's just one of those things that if someone created that issue in her and she hasn't resolved it and she's let it and held on, like how you said, for so long period of time, of course it's gonna eventually come out, and that bitterness is what ends up happening, and nobody's been able to solve that for her, but she hasn't also tried to solve it for herself. And because everybody runs away from their problems when that comes with drugs or whatever, it comes with alcohol or it becomes with
Well, yeah,
anger, they're running away from what's truly inside of them.
yeah. No, as a matter of fact, I was watching a program yesterday about this little girl. There was a serial killer, kidnapper, rapist, and killer in I think it was in California, and he got up to 11 girls. Fourth girl managed to get away and escape.
Mm,
And you know, so she was able to. When she escaped, they got the license plate of the car. So, long story short, they end up catching the guy. You know, he ended up going to prison and stuff like that.
I'm glad she
And
got away.
yeah,
That's
she got
great.
away. She got home. You know, and everybody was like, happy that she was there. They went and had her birthday party, and the mother said something that really got my attention. Because we decided to just move on, like like as if never happened, as if it never happened. You know what I'm saying?
That doesn't solve the
And
problem.
no, it didn't, because you know now the girl herself is doing the interviews later. She goes, "Man, I was through. I was scared at night. I was afraid to tell anything. I grew up. I didn't trust men. I was scared to walk. Turned to drugs. I turned to alcohol. I turned to this, and they were wondering why
Hmm.
am I going so crazy. But the thing is, they never wanted to talk about it. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Everybody chose to ignore it as if it never
Hmm.
happened because they knew that she got raped during the 2 days that she was with that man, and she was, I think, a 9-year-old girl.
Yeah.
So, but that when they said that, go as if it never happened, man, that's what a lot of people do. They don't
Hmm.
address their issues. It's easier just to turn away and act like it's not even happening
Hmm.
instead of dealing with it. See?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what we were talking about, escapes. Gotta have those escapes. You gotta have those escapes, man, because you cannot just a problem does not fix itself.
Uh-uh.
Does not fix itself. What
Absolutely.
do you think, Frank? Does problem fix itself?
Never once. Not in the maintenance world, anyway.
But what do you think about that? Unresolved issues.
Yeah, when you spot them, you know the flag's got to go up, especially in yourself. But
Hmm.
yeah, you have to resolve issues, and going back to the root core of some of the discussions during this podcast in a relationship, as Miguel has already pointed out pretty forcefully, and it can't go into a relationship with unresolved issues. I just don't see that at
No.
all.
No, they call that baggage. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
And here's the thing, you should be solving your own problems anyways. I mean, if you're depending on someone else to solve those problems going into a relationship hoping they'll just accept you. I mean, yeah, some people can just accept other people, but that doesn't mean that they have to accept your issues. You shouldn't be treating other people bad because of what someone else did to you. That's something where you can go a certain direction. If we go back to the relationship with God, if you go to Him with that kind of issues, guess what's going to happen? You're most likely going to get really freed from it, and that's going to really change your entire perspective. You're going to become able to love yourself through that. And I hate pushing religious stuff because I know how a lot of people are. It's not
I
like
love it, man. I don't care what anyone
I
says.
mean, like I don't like
So,
pushing it onto people, but
yeah, I get it.
I'm
But you're
I'm
sharing
gonna
with
tell
but you're
people.
sharing with your experience, and that's good. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
but I'm gonna tell people how it is. I mean, the truth is the truth, and I know people will get mad and be like, "Oh, he's just pushing religion." I'm like, no, it's not really that. I'm just telling you what it is. It's if you change your perspective of life and say, you know what, I really want to heal from this, and say you go down a whole different path that doesn't even involve God. You know, say you want to be a monk or something, and you want to go down that path, and it resolves your issues. I'm all for it. Whatever it takes to get to that point. You know, for my situation, it took God. For your situation as well. And I don't know about Frank's situation, but you know, everybody has their own situation that took something to really let go of those big issues. Once you get past that, life well spent. And then that enjoyment afterwards that we were talking about, being able to go out and release and escape from life, then those are really genuinely there where you really genuinely enjoy it. You don't have to worry about everybody else around you. You don't have to worry about all those BS things happening. So
There's
Yeah.
something else that we don't want to forget. Um, I think sometimes God puts people in our lives. All right.
mm-hmm.
I don't know if God has the time to intervene personally in everyone. Sometimes I do think He sends people to us. For me, yes, sir. I was raised in the church. That was by decree. As a little kid, I didn't have any say in the matter. But as an adult, I found someone who I found somebody I admired. It was actually my wife's father. Just a great man. Always putting other people's first. At first, I thought he was slow. I thought he was stupid. I'm so ashamed of that. Now, I was young and stupid. Now, um, thank God that while he and I were both alive, I came to the realization of what a great and special and remarkable man he was. And so I started, kind of mirroring, Here's what I do and here's what he does." I guess it's a WWJD type situation, but long before that was ever even invented, right? As a
Mm-hmm.
wrist strap. I found something in him that I wanted to aspire to be. I wanted to be like that. And to this day, now he's passed on, but his legacy remains in how I deal with people, how I deal with God, how I deal with my wife, how I deal in all my affairs. And I myself, I mean, everybody has different opinions, but I thank God for placing that in my life.
Yeah,
And I
absolutely.
thank God for the discernment that He gave me to choose him
Mm-hmm.
as a star.
That's good. That's
Absolutely.
good. You know, one of my pet peeves is that I struggle with a lot. And, Frank's talking about being a mentor, and that's a biblical principle. A mentor,
Mm-hmm.
Joshua had Moses, Paul had Timothy, you know what I'm saying? Jesus had the 12 disciples. I mean, there was always somebody there that took him to the next level and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But the one pet peeve I got, because again, we were talking start about the hypocrites. I won't go check the hypocrites.
Hypocrisy. Yeah.
It's a lot of people they have a very emotional understanding of God, not
Mm-hmm.
the biblical understanding of God, emotional understanding of God. Because I went to Bible college and I studied Old Testament, New Testament, Pentateuch. I mean, minor prophets. I mean, I really got book reports,
Yeah.
Revelation. I mean, I really got into it. And I really wanted to study because I wanted to understand it. I just didn't
Mm-hmm.
want to go and be like, he said this, she said that. I really wanted
Yeah.
to get in, and I did. So I have
You
a lot
wanted
of
to see what was actually
yeah,
said
yeah.
versus this mouth the ear type of
Exactly, because if I'm going to
telephone
talk
game.
about this, then I want to know exactly what I'm talking about. But you got a lot of people that they just share what they think. You know what I'm saying? So I got my credentials as an ordained minister, and
Mm-hmm.
I have people all the times like, well, I don't think I think this the way God works. I think this is the way I say you think, or that's where's it at? Well, I
Yeah.
think this. It's like okay, so I start. I'm gonna challenge your thinking because the Bible says this, and they're like, no, no. I say, look, Christianity is the hardest thing to defend. You talk to an accountant. The accountant
Mhm.
says this. No matter what you think, you're gonna be like, okay, well, he's an accountant. I'm not gonna question it.
Yeah.
You get in trouble with the law. This is what I feel. No, the law don't say. The law says this, and you don't question it. The lawyer.
Yeah.
But when it comes to being a man of God, a preacher, a servant, a bishop, whatever like that, that is the one area everybody questions and think
Uh,
they know more. You know what I'm saying? And they don't.
well,
You know what I'm saying?
that I can say the reason of that is
Music
because,
production.
huh?
I was gonna say music production. I find a lot of that too, man.
Yeah, I mean, they don't. Well, let me give you an example. Just the other day, I met somebody and we started talking about the things of God, which is great and stuff like that. And then he tells
Got to
me,
have those
yeah,
conversations.
I love those conversations. I'm open, you know what I'm saying? But he starts telling me, look, the first 5 books of the Bible is called Quran. And it is, I was like, well, no. I said, the first 5 books of the Bible are called Pentateuch and it's written by Moses. No, no, no. It's there because, look, I heard this pre. I was like, no, I studied this. I know exactly what it is. You know what I'm saying? And everything he came at me was wrong. And I was like, no, I disagree. I said, I don't think that. And I'll show you if you want me to show you. But after a while, he didn't want to talk to me. He just like, and it's because he's got an emotional understanding. He's heard a few preachings, a few teachings, and now
Mhm.
he feels he's the boo. I was about to teach me stuff, and I love, dude.
And-
I'm teachable. I'm open. But you got to have solid stuff, And a lot of people don't. They base their beliefs about God on emotional feels,
mhm.
and it shouldn't.
And
You know,
that's the thing that one thing that I believe that people need to really take into consideration. Like, whenever you hear someone say something that why are you gonna straight up believe it? I mean, I'm not saying to discredit everything you hear, but you should definitely question it and maybe do your own research in that area and see if they are right. I mean, if they are right, that's great. Now you actually know that they're right, and you got a little bit more of that topic in you, so now you know the true meaning and the true definition of what was said versus this ideology where, oh, he said it, so it's true. Like, no, why
no,
do we
it's
just believe what's said? Because I mean, you've got, and I'm gonna, I'm gonna say this: we've got pastors out there that preach, stuff that they don't really even know themselves. I mean, you've got like that guy in Dallas, I believe, white dude. I can't remember his name. I don't care to be honest, but this dude, like, basically was like, I need a private jet so I can do what I want to, and he has all this mansions and all this stuff, and I'm like, that's great. I mean, I'm glad that you have been successful in your business enterprise, God, and that, but he treats people like crap, and I'm like, why are you doing this? And then some of the things he says, I've like literally looked at the Bible, looked at what he said, and I'm like, not anything of what is said right here, but what Bible is he going off of? And he's like he's a like a big
yeah, I know,
pastor.
I know who you're talking
I
about.
don't know what his name is, but he's like this big guy, and
I know,
people believe him and follow him, and they don't even read it
and
themselves. And that's one thing that I've like do your research, and that's on any topic in general. Like, do your research and like figure it out. Like, you don't have to just believe what's
yeah,
said.
because even in the Bible, which I've studied, is like in the last days shall be many false prophets, and many will Christ arise, saying, "I am the Christ." So
Hmm.
there's people out there that are going to stand under the religious umbrella
Hmm.
and teach false teachings and
Hmm.
preachings and out there. You know that, but I know what to watch out for because I've studied it.
And
You know
my
what I'm saying?
biggest thing is, how are you getting rich off of this? That's one thing that I don't understand. Like, that's not part of the bargain with being a pastor. I don't think your job is to get rich. Your job is to be able to support everyone in the church. Your job is to be there for people, not have a freaking private jet and do whatever
Yeah,
you want to. And
I'm not against the pastors being blessed. I want them to be blessed, but I think there is a balance there.
there's a
Um,
fine line of
yeah,
like,
there's a
okay, this
balance
is
there
correct, this is not.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I heard of one preaching about money, that money, and I don't think that's God's message. It's not my message. So, but again, between them and God, God's not stupid. He's not
Money
dumb.
is
You know what I'm saying? That's what I tell people. God's not stupid. He ain't dumb. You ain't gonna poke his eyes. You can do whatever you want here on earth, but you're not gonna poke God's eyes. And that man of God's gonna have to stand before the Lord
Hey,
and
yeah,
hold
when you
accountable.
get when you get up there, that's between you and God. No
Yeah,
matter
yeah,
how
yeah,
you
yeah. You
get
know what I'm
there.
saying? And again, and even the people that are followed, they're going to be held accountable for what they
Mhm,
followed and what they received
mhm,
because the Bible clearly states. You know what I'm saying?
mhm.
So yeah, I got a lot of pet peeves when people have their opinions. I don't care about your opinions. What does the word say? I'll stand on
Factual
that.
statements.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because it's like, well, I feel it in my heart. Well, the Bible says the heart's full of deceit and
Mhm,
fornication and lust. So if you're
mhm.
going to go by your heart, it's clearly says it's full of junk.
Yeah,
You know
well,
what
they've
I'm
been
saying?
watching too much Disney movies.
Yeah.
Everybody watches those Disney movies, and don't get me wrong, they're great, but I mean, God, they're
No,
so
no,
full
no.
of like evil stuff.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
even
No, no.
joking.
To me, you know, like, we're talking about escape. Escape Church is the best one for me. I love it, man. It's changed my life, made it better. I don't do better, and like I've measured my life throughout my years,
Hmm.
and the times that I'm closer to God and involved in the things of God and in church, my life is so much better. And the times that I've distanced
Hmm.
myself, I can see a decline, a decline. So I
Hmm.
encourage anybody and everybody. Go to the house of God. Pick one. Do your best. There's going to be hypocrites there. There's going to be drunks. There's going to be everything. But you know what?
But they should
Don't go
be
for that.
there.
Yeah,
They
should
should
be
be
there.
there.
Right, they're making steps right. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? Somebody says,
They're
I'm going
showing
to,
up.
hey, someone says, I'm going to rehab. Oh, that's good. You go to rehab. I go to church. Well, man, it's like,
Well, it's just like it's the same thing with going to the gym. You've got to strengthen your
yeah.
relationship somehow. If you're going to the gym constantly, which is something I need to do.
I was going to tell you, you know.
Hey, see, there it goes. I knew he was going to
Don't
say
open that
something.
door, man. I'll go through it, right?
But if say like we're going to the gym, you should be happy in that progress versus like people are so weird and disgusting. I- Like because I need to go to the gym, I'd like to be healthy, and God's the same way. Going to at certain activities are all the same way. At some point, you're building whatever that thing is inside of you. So why not try it? Why not go? I mean, if it's not for you, it's not for you.
My
Who
thing is like,
cares?
if you want to go, great, go. Get black. If you don't want to go, then don't go. But
And if
don't
you're
make
worried
excuses.
about
Don't
other
blame people.
people's opinions, you probably should go because you need to be listening to what's being said, not by, the constituents. You need to be listening to what's said by the pastor
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because
And
that's what's important. And be reading that Bible, even if
yeah,
I know a lot of people that are actually really like religious and they believe in the Bible wholeheartedly, but they don't go to church, but they can recite every verse inside that
yeah,
Bible,
yeah.
and they have no problem telling you that they will.
Not to people, to talk about that one pastor and he big money and stuff like
I
that.
think his name's
You know,
Joel
and
or
I know
Joel.
his name. I'm gonna mention his name, but
Screw that guy.
for every one guy like that, there's 1,000 that are great. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
There's 1,000 that are great. I've had great mentors in my life, great pastors. My very first youth pastors, man, I love them to death. They're my spiritual parents. They live in Washington. I stay in touch with them. Man, they're great. They're wonderful. They really looked out for me. They took care of me. They discipled me. They taught me. They rebuked me. You know what I'm saying? They did more for me than anybody has ever done in my life, other than my family, my parents. You know what I'm saying?
And that's awesome.
And yeah, and I appreciate them. I love them to death. But what they brought into my life was very necessary.
You really needed that,
Yeah,
even though you
exactly.
didn't realize
Now,
it.
in the same church that we went to, I went there with them. There was also like a bunch of families that didn't like me, didn't care for me, talked about me. And
Yeah.
so if I would have based my, feelings on, man, well, these people, all they do is talk and all that like that, forget this, I'm out. I didn't. I focused on the ones that did love me and helped me grow and,
Yeah.
became
I
a
mean,
big part
our
of my life.
experience is if we focus, this is with anything. You focus so much on the negative, of course you're gonna have negative. You focus on the positive, you're gonna have the positive. There's no change.
Exactly.
But hey, to each their own in that
Yeah,
situation.
you
I
do
guess.
you, boo boo. You do you. You know
Exactly.
what I'm saying? And it doesn't mean you have to be perfect. Because I'm nowhere near perfect. I still got my battles. I still got my struggles. But at the end thereof, I know. Oh, it's coming on.
Oh God! All right, we gotta go.
It hit me.
Oh God!
My relationship with God is important. So my name is Miguel Perez. Just in case you forgot, this is
your boy Kelton.
Frank. Thank you, sir.
Godspeed, everyone.
God bless.